So Jaguar Wright was recently on the Piers Morgan show, one of the biggest news platforms in the world, where she was calling for Jay-Z to come out of hiding and face the music. Jaguar Wright claims that Jay-Z is just as guilty as Diddy, Beyoncé as well, and also blamed Clive Davis for turning Diddy into a monster.
Did Beyoncé really lie under oath to protect Diddy? And did the judge just call her out? Yup, what started as routine questioning turned into a courtroom disaster, with new footage and witness claims exposing major cracks in her story. The judge didn't hold back, and the fallout is bigger than anyone had expected. Could this bring down more than just her image? Stay with us, because what you're about to hear might change everything.
Welcome back. Joining me now is celebrity and royal reporter Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, pop superstar Beyoncé has been ridiculed as tickets for her Cowboy Carter tour reach the same price as a McDonald's meal due to lack of demand. Now, I've got to tell you, Kinsey, I love country music, but Beyoncé's country album ain't country. Even her fans don't seem to like it that much, judging by the lack of demand for tickets for her concert. How did she win a Grammy for Best Country Album with this mess?
It's all about who you know, I imagine, especially when you're Beyoncé and Jay-Z. But I did read an interesting article from Forbes about her new marketing technique, this approach, to bypass traditional media, where Beyoncé just associates or just promotes herself through social media in a way to engage with fans. But I think that ultimately hurts her. The audience, like you or I, are going to be watching Good Morning America. We're going to be watching the morning shows, and you never ever see Beyoncé sit down and do that kind of fluff. I think she fears being asked really tough questions about her husband, about Diddy. I think that's why we are seeing this real transition in her.
Courtroom. Stunned after Beyoncé caught in a lie. The courtroom wasn't ready for what went down. Beyoncé, who's been wrapped in this storm of rumors and sealed testimony, got caught in a lie right there on the stand. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misquote. According to legal observers, it was a full-blown contradiction that shattered her credibility in front of everyone. During questioning, prosecutors began pressing Beyoncé on her previous testimony, which claimed she had no personal involvement in any of Diddy's private gatherings. She'd painted the picture of someone who kept her distance, friendly with Diddy on a surface level but never part of the inner circle. But then it happened. Prosecutors rolled out what they called corrective evidence. New footage and digital records showing Beyoncé entering a location used during one of Diddy's Freak Off events. And just like that, her story started to crumble. The clip didn't show her doing anything incriminating, but it directly clashed with what she had sworn under oath just weeks earlier. According to people inside the courtroom, the air shifted. One legal analyst said, "This wasn't a small slip, this was a strategic lie." And now she's exposed.
Beyoncé is losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything, just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Is it her place to say something?
I mean, probably not, considering she's gonna be indicted for anything she would say. These are criminals. Diddy is a drug dealer, and so is Jay-Z. The proof is there.
As the judge called for quiet, the mood turned tense, and what he said next made it clear. Beyoncé's celebrity status wasn't going to protect her anymore. The court wasn't here for optics, it was here for the truth. And that's when we moved straight into the heart of the issue. What Beyoncé said in court versus what the evidence just revealed. What Beyoncé claimed, and why it's falling apart. In her sworn testimony, Beyoncé made things very clear. She described her relationship with Diddy as distant, strictly professional in her words. She denied knowing about the real nature of his Freak Off events, and she insisted she had never attended, never participated, and never had any personal knowledge of what went on behind those closed doors.
Moguls with pristine public personas, Diddy's reputation has weathered multiple storms, culminating in the explosive allegations that would eventually lead to his indictment. But here's the thing. When we examine the relationship between Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyoncé through a political lens, What emerges is a sophisticated power structure that mirrors many aspects of traditional political coalitions. Each member occupied a distinct position in this triangulation, creating a system of checks and balances that simultaneously reinforce their collective influence while protecting individual interests. Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, professor of sociology and author of multiple works on hip-hop culture, explained this in a quote.
The huge importance of a Jay-Z or of a Nas or of a P. Diddy as business people who have leveraged the authority, the popularity, and the incredible financial windfall that can accrue to those who are at the top of their game in hip-hop is worth remarking upon, but also the fact that a guy like Jay-Z can be a great businessman and still have the ability to spit lyrics in a way that is utterly remarkable.
This power triangle functioned through several distinct mechanisms. First, there was the distribution of cultural capital. Jay-Z brought straight credibility and lyrical genius that established him as hip-hop's intellectual statesman.
But here's the problem. The evidence says otherwise. That newly surfaced footage placed her at one of the exact properties under investigation. During a weekend, prosecutors had already tied to other serious allegations. If that wasn't enough, witness statements from former employees and security detail claim she was present during private planning meetings and artist gatherings hosted by Diddy himself. So either Beyoncé forgot a whole lot, or she chose to leave it out. People in the courtroom weren't buying the bad memory excuse. Her demeanor changed once the footage was shown, and legal analysts say the timeline of events no longer matches up with the claims she's been making under oath. Case said bluntly, this isn't about being at a party, it's about lying to federal investigators, and that comes with consequences. As her story began to fall apart, all eyes turned to the bench, and the judge wasted no time stepping in. No more games. The moment Beyoncé's contradictions came to light, the judge didn't just sit back. He leaned in, and what he said is now being quoted across headlines and legal blogs.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was in witness protection right now. Which means his father ain't never gonna see him again.
Have we seen the last, or is this just the beginning of that saga?
It's just getting started.
Oof.
Which is why I think people are so uncomfortable about me being in this position right now, because of my press pass and because I'm gonna be in the courtroom for the Keffe D trial. If we get to the bottom of Tupac's, when that is finally revealed, 15 other will be revealed with it. And you will find that they were all committed by the same two people, father and son.
Were you surprised by Keffe D's arrest for Tupac?
No. I'm just surprised that he hasn't given it up yet. I'm surprised that he hasn't gone to the feds yet, because he just got stabbed in jail.
Yes, he did.
He's been beaten 3 times. And I'm going to say it for a fact, I know you the one pulling the strings, Reggie Wright Jr. Stop putting your dirty work on other people. You know exactly what you are. And so help me God if you don't keep my name out your mouth.
With the last time you were on the couch, you had mentioned, and it's crazy that you say these things, you talk about Bad Boy, you speak on Heavy D, you speak on Albie Shore.
Yeah.
And you say, like, look who's standing. And now Albie Shore is now, he's being cryptic. Not too cryptic, but he's
very cryptic.
He's very cryptic. But
he's speaking louder than he's ever spoken before.
Ever.
And the reason why he's cryptic is for the sake of his son. Imagine having an enemy that has a position of influence in your child's life and knowing that that person sends you notes and messages every now and then. If you don't do this, if you don't do that, that boy is allegedly. Imagine that. Imagine your baby mama is telling you that if you don't do what he wants you to do, he's gonna child. And you know he's capable of it. Allegedly. Story in the Bible. 2 women had 2 babies. One woman went to sleep, rolled over on her baby. The other woman's baby was just fine. The woman whose baby, she got up, she went and stole the baby from her roommate. Then they fought over who the mother was.
After reviewing the footage and hearing the discrepancies between her current and prior statements, the judge interrupted her legal team mid-defense. Truth is not optional in this courtroom, he said, and from there, the tone was set. The performance was over. Her attorneys tried to explain the discrepancy, suggesting the earlier testimony was misinterpreted or misunderstood, but the judge wasn't having it. Perjury has consequences even for the famous, he warned. According to transcripts, everyone in the room went quiet. You could feel the shift from courtroom drama to something much more serious. There would be no special treatment, no bending the law to protect a global brand. The judge's message was clear. Beyoncé would be held to the same standard as anyone else. People in the gallery began murmuring. Some said this might be the moment Beyoncé's public armor finally cracked, because this wasn't just an image problem anymore, it was a legal one.
Diddy got rid of almost everybody, but he let the baby stay behind with him and his close friends. And then he talked about how Beyoncé was there and Jay-Z was there. Not at their house, at Diddy's house.
Real life. It ain't real life. It ain't real life. Just say real life street stars. You know what time it is.
What he is a broke down Mandingo fighter still working on behalf of the NFL. That's what he is. Period. You want to know what else I also find funny? That he did that interview with the baby person who sat there and told him about when he met Beyoncé. Y'all remember that? That happened on Shay Shay. And he talked about how he was at the Diddy party at Diddy's house. And how after, the festivities were winding down and it was getting later into the middle of the night.
And as the judge demanded accountability, people started asking, why did she lie in the first place? Why would Beyoncé lie? Loyalty or leverage? Now that the lie's been exposed, the big question is, why? Why would someone like Beyoncé, who's built an empire on control, power, and perfection, risk everything by lying under oath? Some insiders say it's loyalty, that she was trying to shield Diddy, someone who, despite his controversies, helped shape the music industry she and Jay-Z dominate. There are bonds behind the scenes we don't see, one industry veteran noted. Sometimes it's not about what they did, it's about what they know.
Exemplary artists and people. I mean, I could give you a list, but you know what happens when I start talking about them? People start stalking them and hounding them.
Right.
And pressuring them, which is why my online life and my real life are absolutely separate.
Right.
Want to know what happens when that doesn't happen? When I don't protect people? My girlfriend gets called and said that she need to keep me away from her family because I'm marked for death and I'm gonna get her family killed and I'm a piece I used to husband while I was living at her house, even though I don't know never met the bitch.
But others think it goes deeper, way deeper. Multiple sources now claim that Beyoncé's real motive might be protecting Jay-Z. His name has come up before in connection to Diddy's circle, and while there's no public accusation against him, the connections are there. Shared ventures, overlapping parties, even joint business deals that are now under review. If Diddy goes down, there's a chance others fall too, and Beyoncé may have lied not just for loyalty, but for survival. She's not protecting Diddy, one former associate said. She's protecting an empire. And just when the courtroom tension couldn't get any higher, prosecutors dropped a new name into the conversation. That's right, Jay-Z. Jay-Z's name comes up, and everything gets messier. As Beyoncé's credibility unraveled, prosecutors shifted gears and introduced Jay-Z into the questioning. It wasn't aggressive, it was strategic. They asked simple things about shared investments, mutual travel with Diddy, and who funded certain events in question, but it was enough to raise every eyebrow in the room.
To get some tail.
Was that his problem? That OnlyFans seemed like a one and done situation. It seemed like he kept the relationship open.
Once again, that little girl has assigned herself to be a whore. And that's who you're clienteling with? As a grown-ass man, you should be telling her that there's more for her to do with her life than peddling her booty on OnlyFans.
25K a cheat.
And you paid it? You that hard up that you got paid little kids? Tell your real story. My mother's stepfather, the man who unalived my grandmother. I never met my grandma.
This wasn't just about Beyoncé lying anymore. It was about what she might have been covering up. If Jay-Z is in any way tied to Diddy's operations, directly or indirectly, it changes the entire scope of the investigation. And some believe this is exactly why Beyoncé was willing to risk lying in the first place. Jay-Z hasn't been charged with anything. His legal team hasn't made a public statement. But insiders say his lawyers are paying very close attention to every word spoken in that courtroom. Meanwhile, social media exploded. Threads popped up connecting years of photos, deals, and appearances. One viral tweet asked, was Beyoncé lying to protect Diddy or to protect her husband?
He never been at no parties, no nothing. So is he a fraud? The internet will have the real niggas looking fake and the fake niggas looking real. Put it together. How could he want Biggie publishing when he already had it? That's where he fucked up at. That's where he fucked up at. How you want something that you already own?
Yeah, you right. You right.
I know I am. That's where he fucked up at. Bad Boy owns 50% of the shit already as an artist. They got 100%. Bad Boy takes 50% right off the top. Then he gave Big $200,000 for the rest of his publishing. So now the other stuff goes to the producers or whatever, or the music. So what is he talking about?
What started as a celebrity's emotional testimony just became a power couple's potential unraveling, and the consequences are only getting heavier from here. The risk of perjury. What happens next for Beyoncé? After the courtroom bombshell, there was no more sugarcoating it. If Beyoncé did in fact lie under oath, and the evidence keeps stacking that way, she could be facing a serious legal problem, perjury. And unlike rumors or reputation, perjury is real, it's criminal, and it carries consequences no amount of fame can erase.
He never been at no parties, no nothing. So is he a fraud? The internet will have the real niggas looking fake and the fake niggas looking real. Put it together. How could he want Biggie publishing when he already had it? That's where he fucked up at. That's where he fucked up at. How you want something that you already own?
Yeah, you right. You right.
I know I am. That's where he fucked up at. Bad Boy owns 50% of the shit already as an artist. They got 100%. Bad Boy takes 50% right off the top. Then he gave Big $200,000 for the rest of his publishing. So now the other stuff goes to the producers or whatever, or the music. So what is he talking about?
In simple terms, perjury is lying under oath, knowingly giving false testimony in a legal proceeding. And if the court believes that Beyoncé intentionally misled them, that could lead to criminal charges. Not a slap on the wrist, not a fine. We're talking potential jail time and a permanent stain on her legacy. Legal experts are already speculating that prosecutors might not even want to charge her. Not yet. Instead, they could use this moment to squeeze her for something bigger. Cooperation, truth, If she's willing to come clean about who else was involved, what she really saw, and how deep it goes, the government might trade leniency for information. One attorney following the case said it bluntly: "You don't go after the queen unless you're playing chess. They want more than Beyoncé. They want what she knows." And let's not pretend the damage isn't already underway. Brands are watching. Corporate partners are holding emergency PR meetings. Her silence is making headlines on its own. The image she's built over the last 20 years is cracking, and this case might be the thing that breaks it wide open.
With Diddy now facing the scrutiny of a federal investigation, it's only natural that fans are taking a magnifying glass to every little detail of Diddy's friendship with Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Turns out Beyoncé is facing some pretty eyebrow-raising accusations lately. I'm talking about everything from claims of sabotaging other black female artists to allegations of her dabbling in witchcraft. And guess what? These accusations aren't just popping up out of nowhere, they're coming from people who were once in Beyoncé's circles. Let's talk about Kimberly Thompson, Beyoncé's former drummer. Back in 2018, she shook things up by dropping a bombshell accusation claiming that Beyoncé was knee-deep in what she described as extreme witchcraft. Thompson even filed for a restraining order against Beyoncé, claiming that she was using spells and magic to mess with her even after she moved to another city to escape.
But even as legal heat rises, the courtroom is just one battlefield. Online, the war is already raging, and Beyoncé's fans are fighting each other. The internet is shocked and split. As soon as news of Beyoncé's courtroom lie broke, social media lit up like wildfire. But this time, the reaction wasn't predictable. It wasn't unanimous praise or blind loyalty. It was confusion and division. For the first time in years, the hive was split right down the middle. Some fans stood by her immediately. "This system is out to destroy powerful black women," one post read. "They're trying to break her because she won't play their game." Others clapped back just as hard, saying, "Lying under oath isn't power, it's criminal." It got messy fast. Hashtags like #BayLied, Perjury Queen, and Protect Jay-Z trended alongside reaction videos and conspiracy breakdowns. TikTok creators posted side-by-side clips of Beyoncé's old interviews, where she sidestepped Diddy questions next to courtroom leaks. "She's been ducking this for years," one user said in a viral video.
50% of all the artists publishing straight out the rip. Then Puff gave Big $200,000 for the rest of his publishing. So what publishing did he was trying to get and keep from Puff? You understand? What publishing was Puff was trying to get when he already had it? He had already paid for it. What part of the catalog was he talking about? I don't understand that. And then he said that Puff offered him $30,000. I can't say he lied, but I can say that he wasn't a part of bad boy security that I know. I knew everybody who worked during them days. You understand? And I don't know dude from a can of paint.
So whoever this Uncle Ron dude is, he's a liar then. He's a fraud.
Is he a fraud? Bruh, he's what he is. He wasn't part of our security that I knew of. Not at that time. He never been on no trips with us. He never been at no parties.
And while her legal team remained silent, the silence only fueled more speculation. When a celebrity known for controlling every narrative suddenly goes quiet, people assume there's something to hide. But it wasn't just fans talking. Fellow artists began subtly distancing themselves online, archiving old posts, untagging photos, or going completely ghost. That's when people started asking, what do they know that we don't? One entertainment blogger tweeted, "This isn't just a scandal, it's a shift. The Invincible brand is bleeding."
Jay-Z's career, you can look at that and say the association to Beyonce is when he started to receive the 16, 17 Grammys since he's been with Beyonce, right? And you go, prior to that, one.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that came in association, like you see the kids even have Grammys. Like they don't sing yet. They don't sing.
Right.
They don't rap yet. And they already have Grammys and shit. So it's like they give them this trophy so we secure that they're coming to the award show. It meant that much to the culture that they just gave them the things that.
And if the insiders are right, the bleeding might not stop here, because according to sources inside the investigation, Beyoncé's lie might only be the beginning of what she tried to cover. Insiders say there's more. The cover-up runs deep. As the dust settled in court, behind the scenes, the story was far from over. Former staffers, ex-security members, and industry insiders began to speak, and the picture they're painting isn't pretty. According to multiple sources, this lie from Beyoncé might not be her first, and it might not be her last. There's a reason she didn't want that footage coming out. One ex-employee said, "It's not just about showing up to a party, it's about what happens behind closed doors, and who sees it." That same source claims there are NDA-protected parties, encrypted communication logs, and hidden travel records that could prove Beyoncé knew more than she ever let on. One former bodyguard reportedly testified privately that Beyoncé attended at least 3 invite-only gatherings hosted by Diddy between 2015 and 2018, and that guests were required to sign strict NDAs before entering. "It was understood," he said, "no phones, no questions, no witnesses." And that's not all. Word is, her team has been trying to clean up behind the scenes, reaching out to suppress stories, offering money for silence, and even attempting to scrub digital trails. But some say it's too late. Screenshots have already been collected. Witnesses are already cooperating. The truth is already moving forward, with or without her. One anonymous industry exec told reporters, "The cover-up might be worse than the crime, and Beyoncé's team knew this was coming." If that's true, then what we're watching isn't just a celebrity slipping up in court. It's a full-scale unraveling of one of the most carefully managed brands in modern history. And the scariest part, if Beyoncé is exposed, it could pull the entire industry down with her. What this means for the industry, and what's next. This trial started as a case against Diddy, but now it's revealing cracks in the entire celebrity system. Beyoncé's alleged perjury is no longer just about her. It's about who else is at risk if she goes down, and insiders say the list is long. If Beyoncé is officially charged with lying under oath, the shock won't end there. Other stars, the ones who've partied with Diddy, shared deals with Jay-Z, or flown private to the same events, will suddenly be under the spotlight. Legal experts believe the government is already preparing to reopen sealed testimonies from past cases involving Diddy's inner circle. From major record label execs to artists we haven't even connected yet, no one is off limits. And with prosecutors pressing hard, we may see people start flipping fast. Nobody wants to be the face of the downfall, one source said. If they have to give up Beyoncé to save themselves, they will. This could change everything. The way celebrity NDAs are handled, the way the courts treat high-profile witnesses, even the way fans respond to their favorite stars when the truth finally breaks through the glitter. A veteran music journalist summed it up perfectly. This trial began as Diddy's reckoning, but it might end with everyone's secrets on the floor. So what's next for Beyoncé? Only time and the truth will tell. But one thing's for sure, the illusion of untouchable celebrity just took another major hit. Thanks for watching. This story is just getting started. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Is Beyoncé protecting Diddy or something much bigger?